The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council stretched far beyond what human eyes could comfortably see. Its crystal walls reached up into the artificial atmosphere of the space station, where streams of light danced like rivers in the sky. At the center of this massive chamber, Dr. James Walker sat quietly, his weathered hands folded in his lap as the sound of laughter echoed from thousands of alien throats. High Speaker Marcus, his blue-tinted skin gleaming under the starlight that poured through the transparent ceiling, raised his four-fingered hand to quiet the assembly. "And now," he said, his universal translator making his words clear to all present, "the humans claim they have mastered seven-dimensional travel." His mouth curved into what passed for a smile among his kind, and another wave of laughter swept through the chamber. Dr. Walker didn't move. He had expected this reaction. After 40 years in galactic politics, he knew how these advanced species viewed Earth. To them, humans were barely more than clever apes who had stumbled their way into space travel. "Perhaps," Marcus continued, his voice dripping with amusement, "they will also tell us they have built their ships from solid light and powered them with the dreams of their young." More laughter followed, and several council members actually fell from their floating seats in their excitement. In the back of his mind, Walker recalled his last conversation with Dr. Anna Thompson. He could still see her face on the secure quantum video link, her eyes bright with triumph, as she showed him the final test results. "Let them laugh, James," she had said. "They won't be laughing much longer." A small alien, covered in what looked like golden fur, floated up to the speaking platform. "Honored Council," it chirped, "I have reviewed the humans' supposed research. Their understanding of dimensional physics is—" It paused for dramatic effect, comparable to a child's drawing of a starship. The chamber erupted once again. Walker checked his old-fashioned wristwatch. Back on Earth, in the deep underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Thompson would be making her final adjustments to the drive. The real one, not the decoy they had let the alien spies examine. "Dr. Walker," High Speaker Marcus called out, bringing the humans' attention back to the present. "Would you care to defend your species' claims, or shall we move on to more serious matters, like preventing your kind from accidentally destroying themselves with this foolish experiment?" Walker stood slowly, straightening his simple black suit. He was the only one in the chamber wearing such primitive clothing. All others wore either energy fields or bioengineered living garments. He cleared his throat, and the universal translator picked up his words. "High Speaker, Honored Council," he said, his voice steady and calm. "I appreciate your concern for humanity's welfare. However, I am not here to defend our research." He paused, noting how several council members leaned forward in interest. "I am here merely to inform you of our progress, as required by galactic law." More laughter, but softer this time. Some of the older council members were studying him carefully. They had been around long enough to know that humans sometimes displayed unexpected behaviors. "Very well," Marcus said, waving a dismissive hand. "Your notification is recorded. This council strongly advises Earth to cease these dangerous experiments immediately." His eyes narrowed. "We would hate to see your young species harm itself through overambition." Walker bowed slightly and returned to his seat. As he did, his watch vibrated once, the signal he had been waiting for. Back on Earth, Dr. Thompson had just activated the final sequence. The real work was about to begin. The council moved on to other matters, occasionally throwing amused glances at the quiet human in their midst. None of them noticed the small smile that crossed Walker's face as he checked his watch one final time. In less than 24 hours, everything would change. Above them, the artificial sky continued its eternal dance of light and shadow, unaware that humanity was about to rewrite the laws that governed its very existence. 3 massive alien ships hung in Earth's orbit like dark clouds blocking the stars. Their hulls shifted colors constantly, displaying the advanced technology that made most human ships look like children's toys. On the surface below, Dr. Anna Thompson watched them through the reinforced windows of her office at the World Science Center. "They're here to help us," Ambassador Thomas said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. He stood beside her, holding a tablet that displayed the latest diplomatic message. The Arcturus Federation is deeply concerned about our well-being. Thompson turned away from the window. At 55, her hair had gone completely white, but her eyes burned with the same intensity they had shown 30 years ago, when she first discovered the mathematical proof for seven-dimensional travel. "How many ships are actually watching us?" she asked. "These 3 are just for show," Thomas replied. "Our deep space sensors detected at least 20 more hiding behind Mars. They're trying to be subtle about it." A gentle chime filled the office, and a holographic screen appeared in the air. The face that formed belonged to Admiral Robert Stone, his expression grim. "Doctor, Ambassador, we have a situation. The Arcturus Federation just threatened to cancel all trade agreements if we don't shut down Project Infinity immediately." Thompson smiled. Right on schedule. The real Project Infinity facility lay hidden beneath the red sands of Mars, far from the decoy site they had built in the Rocky Mountains. While alien observers watched scientists pretend to work on Earth, the true breakthrough waited in a chamber deep underground, ready to change everything. "Dr. Thompson," a new voice called. The hologram split to show High Speaker Marcus, his blue skin almost glowing. "I trust you received our message of concern." "We did, High Speaker," Thompson replied politely. "Earth appreciates your interest in our research." "Interest?" Marcus let out a sound between a laugh and a snort. "Doctor, you are playing with forces you cannot understand. Your primitive mathematics." "Our primitive mathematics," Thompson interrupted, "have served us well so far." She kept her voice calm, remembering Walker's advice about dealing with the Council. Marcus's expression hardened. "We have seen species destroy themselves before, Doctor. Their ambition exceeded their wisdom, much like yours does now." He leaned closer to the camera. "End this project, or we will be forced to take steps to protect you from yourselves." The transmission cut off abruptly. Admiral Stone's face remained, waiting. "They're scared," Thomas said quietly. Thompson nodded. "They should be." She pressed a button on her desk, and a secure channel opened to Mars. "Captain Hayes, status report." Michael Hayes appeared on screen, his environment suit covered in red Martian dust. "Final checks are complete, Doctor. Infinity's edge is ready. We're just waiting for your word." "The aliens are watching the decoy site." "Like hawks," Hayes grinned. "They haven't even glanced at Mars. Their arrogance is working in our favor." Thompson checked the time. In 12 hours, the Council would meet again to discuss the human problem. They expected Earth to bow to their pressure, to admit their technological limitations and accept their place as a junior species in the galactic community. "Admiral," Thompson said, "begin evacuation of the Rocky Mountain facility. Make it look good. Lots of disappointed scientists, plenty of equipment being packed up." "And the real launch?" Stone asked. "Proceed as planned. Captain Hayes, power up the drive but keep it in shadow state. Let's not give them any hints until it's too late." As the holograms faded, Thompson returned to the window. The alien ships still hung there, their colors rippling like oil on water. She remembered all the years of mockery, the condescending guidance, the barely hidden contempt. "Soon," she whispered to herself, "very soon." Above her, the alien ships continued their watch, unaware that their greatest fear was about to come true on a planet they weren't even bothering to monitor. The snow-covered peaks of the Rocky Mountains loomed over the research facility as workers carried out boxes and equipment. Alien observers watched from their ships high above, their sensors recording every detail of humanity's apparent surrender. Scientists walked out with hanging heads, their disappointment visible even from orbit. Inside his office, Admiral Stone played his part perfectly. He stood before the alien delegation, his shoulders slumped in defeat. "As you can see," he said, gesturing to the screens showing the evacuation, "we are complying with the Council's wishes. Project Infinity is being shut down." The alien representatives nodded with satisfaction. The tallest among them, An Arcturian named First Observer Malik stepped forward. His crystalline body caught the light from the windows, sending rainbow patterns across the walls. "Your wisdom in this matter will be noted," he said. "The Council appreciates Earth's cooperation." But far beneath the ice of Europa, Jupiter's moon, something else was happening. Captain Michael Hayes stood in the control room of humanity's real masterpiece. The Infinity's Edge waited in its massive underground dock, its hull gleaming with patterns that seemed to shift in and out of reality. The ship wasn't particularly large, barely 400 meters long, but its design defied conventional physics. "Status report," Hayes called out to his crew. "Seven-dimensional drive is at full capacity." Lieutenant Rogers responded from her station. "Shadow state maintaining at 99.9% efficiency. The aliens can't see us even if they looked right at us." Hayes smiled. The shadow state was humanity's first breakthrough, the ability to exist partially out of phase with normal spacetime. It had taken 15 years just to perfect that technology, all while letting the aliens think Earth was struggling with basic faster-than-light travel. His comm unit buzzed. Dr. Thompson's face appeared on the screen. "Captain, the show at Rocky Mountain is going perfectly. The aliens are completely convinced." Any word from Dr. Walker at the Council? He just sent his report. The emergency session about Earth's wise decision is about to begin. Every important species in the galaxy will be there to celebrate their victory over our dangerous ambitions. She couldn't keep the amusement from her voice. Hayes turned to look at his ship through the control room's window. The Infinity's Edge seemed to blur at the edges, as if it couldn't quite decide which dimension it wanted to exist in. That was normal. The seven-dimensional drive affected space in ways that human eyes couldn't properly process. "Time check," he called out. "T-4 hours to optimal launch window," Rogers replied. "The alien fleet is still focused on Earth and Mars. No signs they've even considered checking Europa." That was the beauty of their deception. The aliens were so convinced of their superiority that they never thought humans could build a secret base on Europa. The ice moon's radiation and magnetic interference made it perfect for hiding their true work. "Begin final preparations," Hayes ordered. "Engineering team, start the deep drive sequences. Navigation, plot our course through all 7 dimensions. Medical, prepare for multi-dimensional transition." As his crew moved with practiced efficiency, Hayes thought about what they were about to attempt. No species had ever successfully navigated beyond the 6th dimension. The aliens thought it was impossible, that their understanding of physics was complete, but they had never considered that their basic assumptions might be wrong. Humanity hadn't tried to build on the alien science. They had started fresh, looking at the universe with new eyes. In the Rocky Mountains, the evacuation continued. Alien ships recorded everything, their crews probably already drafting reports about how they had saved humanity from its own foolishness. None of them noticed the slight disturbances in Europa's ice field or the occasional flicker in spacetime as the Infinity's Edge tested its systems. Soon, very soon, the galaxy would learn what humanity had really been doing all these years. And the laughter would finally stop. The moment of truth arrived with no warning for the galaxy at large. On Europa, deep beneath the ice, Captain Hayes stood on the bridge of Infinity's Edge, his hand hovering over the activation console. The ship hummed with power that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "All stations, report," he commanded. "Engineering ready. 7-dimensional drive at full power," Lieutenant Rogers called out. "Medical standing by. Anti-dimensional sickness protocols in place," reported Dr. Miller. "Navigation configured for multi-dimensional transit," Lieutenant Parker added from her station. Hayes took a deep breath. "Dr. Thompson, are you receiving?" The scientist's face appeared on the main screen, her white hair practically glowing under the lights of her secure bunker on Earth. "Receiving clearly, Captain. The alien ships are still celebrating their victory in orbit. They haven't detected a thing." "Begin launch sequence," Hayes ordered. The ship's lights dimmed momentarily as power redirected to the drive. Around them, reality itself seemed to bend slightly, making some crew members blink and shake their heads. In orbit around Earth, the alien ship's sensors suddenly picked up an energy spike from Jupiter's direction. The readings made no sense. Energy patterns that shouldn't exist according to their understanding of physics. What's happening? First observer Malik demanded, his crystalline form flickering with confusion. Where is this coming from? On Europa. Haze watched as the dimensional barriers began to part. The view through the bridge windows changed, showing glimpses of other realities layered on top of each other like sheets of glass. Sir, Rogers called out, alien ships are changing course. They've detected something. Too late, Haze smiled. Engage primary sequence. The Infinity's edge lifted off from its dock, but not in any conventional way. Instead, the ship seemed to fold through space itself, as if reality was a piece of paper and they had found a way to bend it. Alarms blared across every alien vessel in the solar system. Their most advanced sensors tried to make sense of what they were seeing, but the readings were impossible. The ship was moving in ways that violated everything they knew about physics. 7-dimensional drive fully engaged, Rogers reported. We're existing in all 7 dimensions simultaneously. Through the layered realities visible from the bridge, Haze could see the alien ships scrambling to respond. Their weapons powered up, but they might as well have been trying to catch sunlight with a net. Sir, incoming transmission from the Arcturus flagship, Parker announced. Put it through, Haze ordered. First observer Malik's face appeared, his crystalline features distorted with what might have been fear. What is this? What have you done? What you said was impossible, Haze replied calmly. Humanity sends its regards. Before Malik could respond, Haze nodded to Rogers. Execute dimensional shift. The Infinity's edge didn't just move, it transcended. The ship phased through 7 layers of reality simultaneously, leaving the alien fleet behind as if they were standing still. Their fastest ships, capable of moving through 6 dimensions, suddenly seemed as slow as sailing ships compared to a modern jet. Dimensional shift successful, Rogers reported. All systems nominal. We're now operating beyond known physics. The alien ships frantically tried to track them, but their sensors couldn't even comprehend what they were seeing. To them, the Infinity's edge seemed to exist everywhere and nowhere at once. Set course for the Galactic Council, Haze ordered. Let's go show them what humanity has really achieved. The ship moved through space in ways that defied description, leaving the stunned alien fleet behind. As they accelerated, Haze couldn't help but smile. Years of mockery, of being treated like children playing with toys they didn't understand, were about to end. In her bunker on Earth, Dr. Thompson watched the data streams with satisfaction. Give them a show they'll never forget, Captain, she said softly. The Infinity's edge disappeared into the depths of space, carrying with it humanity's message to the galaxy. Never underestimate what humans can achieve. The Galactic Council was in the middle of celebrating humanity's wise decision. When it happened, High Speaker Marcus stood at the central podium, giving a speech about guiding younger species, when every alarm in the massive space station began to sound at once. Impossible energy readings detected. A technician shouted, their tentacles wrapping nervously around their control panel. Something is approaching through all dimensional layers simultaneously. The celebration turned to chaos as the Infinity's edge appeared in the heart of the Council space, but it didn't appear in the way ships normally did. Instead, the human vessel seemed to exist in multiple places at once, its form flickering between dimensions as if reality itself couldn't decide where it should be. By the ancient stars, Marcus whispered, his blue skin turning pale. What have they done? Dr. Walker stood up from his seat, straightening his simple black suit. What we said we would do, High Speaker. We mastered 7-dimensional travel. The massive viewing screens in the council chamber showed the Infinity's edge from multiple angles. The ship's hull rippled with patterns that hurt to look at, its very existence seeming to bend the space around it. Some council members had to look away, their senses unable to process what they were seeing. "This is a trick," First Observer Malik declared, having just arrived from the Sol system. "Some kind of human deception." Captain Hayes's voice filled the chamber, transmitted on all frequencies. "No deception, Observer. Would you like a demonstration?" Before anyone could respond, the Infinity's edge began to move. It passed through solid objects as if they weren't there, shifted between dimensions like a fish swimming through water, and created controlled pockets of space-time that defied the Council's most advanced sensors. Dr. Thompson's face appeared on the main screen, standing beside Hayes on the bridge. "Your understanding of physics was incomplete," she said calmly. "You thought 6 dimensions were all that existed because that's all you could perceive. But the universe has 11 dimensions, and we've learned to access 7 of them." "Impossible," a senior scientist from the Arcturus Federation shouted. "Our mathematics proves." "Your mathematics was built on flawed assumptions," Thompson interrupted. "You built upon the work of those who came before you, never questioning their basic premises. Humanity started fresh. We looked at the universe with new eyes." The Infinity's edge demonstrated its capabilities, moving in ways that made several council members physically ill as they tried to track its movements. The ship existed in multiple states simultaneously, something their sciences said was impossible. High Speaker Marcus gripped his podium tightly. "If what you say is true, if you really have mastered 7 dimensions, then humanity has surpassed you." Walker finished for him. "Yes, High Speaker. That's exactly what it means." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. A species they had mocked, had treated like children, had actually leaked beyond their greatest achievements. The laughter that had so often filled these halls at humanity's expense was now replaced by stunned silence. "The universe is larger than you imagined," Thompson continued. "There are layers of reality you never dreamed of, possibilities you never considered. While you were laughing at our primitive understanding, we were seeing what you had missed." Captain Hayes's voice came again. "We can exist in all 7 accessible dimensions at once. Your weapons can't touch us. Your sensors can't track us. Your ships can't catch us. The question now is, what will you do with this knowledge?" The council members looked at each other uncertainly. Their entire understanding of the universe had just been shattered by a species they had dismissed as barely worth noticing. Dr. Walker smiled slightly. The time for laughter was over. Now came the time for learning, and humanity would be the teachers. "Prove it," High Speaker Marcus demanded, his voice echoing through the council chamber. "Show us that this isn't some elaborate trick." Captain Hayes exchanged glances with Dr. Thompson on the bridge of the Infinity's edge. They had expected this challenge. The aliens wouldn't accept their new reality without concrete proof. "Very well," Hayes replied. "First Observer Malik, your ships are the fastest in the known galaxy, correct?" The crystalline alien straightened proudly. "Our vessels can traverse 6 dimensions. Nothing is faster." "Launch your best ship," Hayes said calmly. "Try to catch us." 3 Arcturus vessels appeared from dimensional space, their advanced drives humming with power. They were beautiful ships, their crystalline structures reflecting light in impossible patterns. Until today, they had been considered the pinnacle of space travel technology. "Begin the demonstration," Dr. Thompson ordered. The Infinity's edge moved, but it didn't move like a normal ship. It shifted through reality itself. The alien vessels tried to follow, their 6-dimensional drives pushing them through multiple layers of spacetime. But they might as well have been trying to catch a ray of light with their hands. "Impossible," Malik whispered as his ships fell further and further behind. "We're at maximum dimensional shift." "Now," Hayes announced, "watch this." The Infinity's edge suddenly appeared inside one of the Arcturus ships, but not by breaking through its hull. Instead, the human vessel simply existed in the same space, phasing through the other dimensions to avoid any actual collision. "How?" a council member stuttered. How are they doing that? Dr. Thompson's voice filled the chamber. Your ships move through dimensions in sequence. 1, 2, 3, and so on. We move through all 7 simultaneously. We exist in multiple dimensional states at once. To demonstrate her point, the infinity's edge began to split its existence. Parts of it appeared in different locations, all connected through dimensional space that the aliens couldn't even perceive. Their sensors went crazy, trying to track a vessel that existed in multiple realities at the same time. Stop this, Marcus demanded. You're breaking every law of physics. No, Walker said from his seat in the council chamber. We're breaking your understanding of physics. There's a difference. Hayes directed his ship through a series of maneuvers that should have been impossible. They passed through solid matter as if it wasn't there, created stable time-space bubbles that defied conventional physics, and moved in ways that made the aliens' most advanced sensors simply give up in confusion. Your weapons, Thompson added, would be useless against us. You can't hit what exists in dimensions you can't access. To prove her point, several Arcturus ships fired their most powerful weapons. The energy beams passed right through the infinity's edge as if it was a ghost, missing all 7 dimensional states of the vessel simultaneously. Enough, Marcus shouted. We understand. The infinity's edge reformed into a single solid ship, hovering in the center of the council space. The aliens stared at it with a mixture of fear and awe. Their laughter from just days ago seemed like a distant memory now. No, Walker said, standing up. You don't understand. Not yet. This demonstration wasn't about showing off our power. It was about showing you the truth about our universe. That there's always more to learn, more to discover. Hayes added, your civilization has existed for thousands of years longer than ours. You've achieved amazing things, but you stopped looking for new answers. You thought you knew everything there was to know. And that, Thompson concluded, is why you never saw this coming. Humanity never stopped asking questions, never stopped looking for new answers. We never accepted that something was impossible just because everyone said it was. The council chamber fell silent again, but this time it wasn't from shock or fear. It was the silence of realization. The understanding that everything they thought they knew about the universe had just changed forever. The council chamber had changed. Where once there had been mockery and condescension toward humanity, now there was silence and respect. High Speaker Marcus stood at his podium, his blue skin reflecting the light from the infinity's edge as it hovered in the center of the space. What are your demands? Marcus asked quietly. With this power, you could dominate the galaxy. Dr. Walker stood from his seat and walked to the center of the chamber. His simple black suit stood out among the elaborate alien clothing and energy fields around him. Demands. He smiled. We have no demands. We have an offer. The aliens murmured among themselves. This wasn't how newly powerful species usually behaved. History had taught them that power led to dominance, to conquest. We offer partnership. Dr. Thompson's voice came from the infinity's edge. We offer to share our knowledge with species who prove they're ready for it. Captain Hayes appeared beside her on the main screen. Humanity remembers what it was like to be dismissed, to be laughed at. We won't do the same to others. First Observer Malik stepped forward, his crystalline form shimmering. You would share this technology, even after how we treated you. Especially after how you treated us, Walker replied. Because we learned something important from that experience. We learned that arrogance blinds you to possibilities. We don't want to make the same mistake. The infinity's edge demonstrated its capabilities one final time, creating a controlled dimensional bubble that allowed the council members to briefly perceive all 7 dimensions. Many gasped as they saw, for the first time, the true nature of reality. The universe is vast, Thompson explained, far vaster than any of us imagined. There are probably more dimensions we haven't accessed yet, more discoveries waiting to be made. We invite you to explore them with us. High Speaker Marcus gripped his podium. But we treated you like children. We mocked your efforts. We threatened you with sanctions. Yes, Walker nodded. And now we have the chance to show you a better way. To show you that power doesn't have to corrupt, that advancement doesn't have to lead to dominance. Hayes spoke next. Each species that proves its peaceful intentions will be taught. Not just about seven-dimensional physics, but about the importance of keeping an open mind, of never stopping to question and explore. The council chamber erupted in discussion. The idea that humanity would share their breakthrough, rather than use it for revenge or control, challenged everything they thought they knew about power dynamics. Dr. Thompson's white hair seemed to glow as she made the final offer. We propose creating a new division within the council, not based on technological advancement or military power, but on the pursuit of knowledge, a place where species can share discoveries without fear of mockery or dismissal. Walker looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of various council members. The laughter has stopped. Now it's time for learning to begin. Who will join us? One by one, representatives stood. First came the younger species, those who had also faced mockery from the older civilizations. Then, slowly, the older species joined them. Even Marcus stepped down from his podium to stand with the others. "We accept your offer," the High Speaker said formally. "And we apologize for our past behavior." "Apology accepted," Walker smiled. "Now, shall we begin our first lesson?" There's something fascinating about the eighth dimension that Dr. Thompson recently discovered. On the bridge of the infinity's edge, Hayes and Thompson watched as the galaxy's most powerful civilizations prepared to become students again. Their ship, humanity's greatest achievement, had done more than prove their capabilities. It had opened the door to a new era of cooperation and discovery. The laughter had indeed stopped, but something better had replaced it: the shared joy of exploration and the endless pursuit of knowledge.